y'all went from being lobby boys to the pod boys. You're 50 years old. There's no way you think the 21-year-old girl was going to come suck it back at the club after you spend 10 bands. The worst thing you could do to the street is put a podcast mic in front of them. All that cool shit, be thinking whatever they're saying is so cool, they get on the mic and tell you the opposite.
Akademiks goes off on Maino in an epic academic rant. So Akademiks and Maino exchange shots, all originating from when Akademiks would go on his live stream and make fun of Fabulous and how he was wearing a 2000 style headband inside of a podcast.
Fabulous being like 49 with a headband. Like, yo, why is the nigga wearing, you know the headband is for sweat.
And then the Maino and the crew and all of them would go and shoot at Akademiks and make fun of how he looked.
I feel like you built like a dyke. I feel like...
Well, apparently Akademiks didn't take too kindly to that, because he would go on his live and pop the trunk on the podcasters who were rappers, or the rappers turned podcasters, whichever way you want to look at it. And I thought that Akademiks was in rare form, but one of the things that struck me was how he kept saying, please, Maino, don't try to see me.
By the way, Maino, don't get mad at me. We're potting. We're arguing with words. We're going to take a shot together when we see each other. We love each other. Do not get mad.
He was very much leaning into the idea that the street dudes, whenever you go at them, they have a tendency to make violent threats if they feel like the war of words isn't going well. And I don't even know if it's a street thing. It's also a generational thing. I believe the old school thinks that if words go too far, they got to see you. But this was a classic rant, not just because Akademiks was getting into his loud, angry, funny bag. It was also a commentary on old media versus new media who happens to be old. Ak was commenting on how these rappers, well, Fab, Maino, Dave East, and Jim Jones, are now trying to enter a new medium to them that they have somewhat not succeeded. Like, Maino had a podcast. It was doing pretty well, and then he stopped. And Jim Jones, I believe he's had some other content he's done, but Akademiks was just letting them know that this is his lane, and he's going to be successful in going at them because of one reason. And the reason that he outlined was something that I thought was particularly interesting and insightful from him. He said, all of you rappers, all of you have come up in the era where being cool was the thing to do. But when you start making content, you will soon find that you are not as cool as your labels made you out to be, as the personality which you've tried to engineer online. Now, as to where this goes next, I don't know. I assume Maino will fire back and they'll go from there. I wouldn't be surprised if Maino and Akademiks sit down and actually have a conversation. I think that that would make things a good back and forth, and we could see the return of something like Everyday Struggle. Not saying that they're going to do a show together, but just a meeting of the generations. And I think that that is what's missing with these types of back and forths, is that there's no discourse. It's just a lot of dissing, and they're never able to get along after that. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you feel like Akademiks won the battle? I was debating with a few of my folks, and I was the opinion that Akademiks soundly defeated Maino, Fab, Jim Jones, and all of them, largely because the podcast, the Let's Rap, I don't know what that joint is called, no, Jim Jones podcast with all the rappers on it. I was of the opinion that they didn't really all go in on Akademiks. It was really just Maino who went on this whole tirade, and it made me think, like, did you guys organize this? Was this a plan, or did you just go off the cuff? I truly believe when going at Akademiks, it would have been a better path to be going together versus one. And Fab, the one who was affronted and dissed, he ain't even say anything. He was just there laughing while Akademiks roasted Maino for all those years of talking crazy, but then on this back and forth, not exactly representing himself well. He would make fun of how Maino was talking about going to the strip club and not getting the women to come back home with it. He felt like he was shorted.
And then I waited outside for her.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, do I gotta call a stripper that she could give me the insight on what she call a nigga who spent 10 bands in the club, but think he gonna get the... He's in the parking lot waiting. She dip out the side. She get in the car and she go home. She didn't him, and the nigga's mad the next day on the gram. And 2 years later, he's on a podcast talking about how he didn't.
And that to him was funny because he was basically highlighting how, oh, you're just the old guy now. These young model chicks, stripper chicks aren't leaving with you like they used to back in the day. Then Akademiks would also make fun of Maino and the whole situation with where he was on Angela Yee's lip service, and he said that he likes to play in the bedroom sexually as a runaway slave.
I like to be like a runaway slave.
Oh! 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 Oh, shit! All the time I'm calling you Maino, your name should be Maino Kente.
And that the white women that he sleeps with will then pretend like he is the slave, and they'll like be cool. And it was just like real sordid love play type stuff. And Akademiks was just really strategic, which is why I think it was also good. It wasn't just like a rant. It was a reflection of Maino's whole career. But Maino is not to play with. Like, he will get tight. He will shoot at you. He will see if things are uneasy for you. You know, there was rumors that people used to play Maino's records just because they were scared of Maino. That gives you insight into the type of power he has in New York City and had back then. But I also think this was a come up for Jim Jones' podcast because they're doing really good views. They're doing over 150,000 every time they post on YouTube. And I think they also have Jim Jones and Maino, who have a background in entertainment besides rapping. I think Fabulous and Dave East, a little bit much to be desired. I don't think Fabulous is really good at speaking on a podcast microphone. I feel like he's too cool for school, and you saw that reflected in his versus battle with Jadakiss. Same with Dave East. I don't see how long all of these dudes can last. It's a lot of big personalities, and I know a lot of folks are going to say, yo, these are all dudes who work out together. They cut from that cloth. I will tell you that podcasting will divide the strongest of friendships, and I think this podcast will be no different, and I'm curious to see where that goes. Once again, to summarize this video, Akademiks popped the trunk on Maino and Jim Jones, called them the Pod Boys, a reference to when Maino and Jim Jones did that album called The Lobby Boys, saying that rap ain't working out for you, so now you're trying to do content, and now you're trying to use Akademiks' name. And I truly believe that Akademiks won this back and forth hands down. But let me know what you think in the comments, because Maino hasn't went yet, and Maino's also creative with the words. He's a rapper, he's a podcaster, and I think he's not done with this back and forth. That's right, this isn't done until Maino's done. All right, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Make sure you tap in with my Patreon. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.